What would your advice be to someone who is struggling in their building business?
Getting into those groups where you got the same sort of people that are dealing with situations or have been through things that you have, someone that can actually just help out and just actually asking for help, just get in there and do it. I'd try to do everything for the office side of things, pricing, talking to clients, working on the tools, never had any time for myself, any of that sort of stuff. We're quite stubborn, to be fair. I think we can do everything ourselves, but you sort of learn to let those things go, and when you need help, you need help. You can sit there and struggle and keep doing the same thing and get the same result. We've actually been using a new QS lately. I've got an amazing breakdown of all your hours, all your materials, everything like that, which is fantastic.
It's so critical to be able to, one, back cost in real time, know exactly where you're at, two, control your work in progress, and then be able to say to the guys, hey, cladding, we're allowed 85 hours. We're halfway through it. We should be at 40, but you guys are sitting at 65 hours. Like, what do we got to do to pull that time? Welcome to the Builder's Ladder, brought to you today by The Professional Builder. And today we're talking with Corey Brown from Kiwi Built, based here in Wellington, that does high-end villa heritage restorations and renovations. How you going, my man?
Yeah, good, mate. Thank you very much.
We're here in windy Wellington, and Corey, your company is called Kiwi Built.
Yep.
Can you give us a little bit of an overview, type of projects you do, and tell us a little bit about the type of work you do?
Well, we mostly renovations. Try to specialise in sort of heritage homes and old villas and things like that. Just houses of character. Done a little bit of everything over our career, my career, from civil construction work, building bridges and reservoirs, all the way to high-end homes and things like that as well.
Bridges and reservoirs? How do you get into that?
My old man was a builder as well, and when I was young, he worked for a company called Juno Civil back in the day, and they're still around now, and I worked for them for about 15 years in between sort of doing building, but always wanted to do house building, but at that time it was really hard to actually get people to give you an apprenticeship at that time. If you didn't have any experience, they just didn't want to know you. So
fully.
Yeah, so it was good, but we learned a lot there. So, yeah.
What made you want to start your own company? Why not keep working for someone else?
Never really planned to start my own company, to be honest. The last building company I was working for was only a small company, but things just weren't quite going right there. Didn't really have much work. We're getting fed out to other guys just to keep ourselves busy. Yep. The owner wanted to bring his son in and help him finish his apprenticeship, and just from that point there, it just sort of went downhill. Our apprentice was being picked on by the owner's son and things like that. There's just a lot of things were going on in there that I didn't really agree with, and but voiced my opinion on it, and could have turned around and got shut down. So I was like, right, I'm done.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, I've got an opportunity to move on my own, so I just done it, and it was always just planned to be me by myself, and things just changed, obviously. And
awesome. How long ago was that?
6-7 years ago, roughly. Yeah.
And what was your mindset when you started? Like, did you have an idea of what you wanted to build, or
just anything, just residential housing, because that's what I've been doing for the last few years. Once I finally got a job doing that, I know a lot of guys in Wellington who have got a lot of big companies and stuff like that as well. So some of them were sort of helping me out around that time to just give me work to do. But again, at that point, I was just taking whatever was coming. I started with small builds and then small renovations and things like that. So
cool. And where's the business at today? How many people do you have in the team? And tell us a little bit about the structure of the company, who's in the office, etc.
Yeah, there's only 3 of us at the moment, so it's just a small company, obviously doing what we do. It's very hard to find guys that do the kind of work we do. So 2 of us on the tools, and we've got the wife pretty much in the office full-time, doing everything, so I don't have to worry about that after hours. One of those things that we learned from you guys is trying to get some time back for yourself, and having Jen do that is definitely a huge help,
So how do you structure it? We have a lot of members who are husband and wife duo in the business.
Yeah.
How do you structure what Jen does? Like, how did she get trained up? How do you draw on the line in the sand at the end of the day? Like business gets left here, and how does she structure her week?
It's a tricky one, especially, you do get arguments and things like that as just sort of start out, but it's just because she doesn't, I've learned everything myself, and I've taught myself everything that I know, and trying to teach someone else, it's like that whole thing where you know what you're doing, trying to teach someone else gets a little bit tricky, so just sort of worked our way through it, gave her small things while she was still working as a hairdresser to just concentrate on the emails and make sure that none of those were lagging behind, and the invoices and stuff like that were coming out. So just started small and just slowly added things to her list as we went on. And now she pretty much runs the whole office. She's way more organised than I am. So, you know, things don't get missed. As soon as bills come in, they're put into the system. We use Builder Trend, so everything gets put into there. Awesome. So our budget's always live, so we can see what's going on quite often. But again, she still asks me questions on certain things like that. And sometimes either I'll know them or we'll figure them out together, you know. So
business is a numbers game. How do you track your financials each month? So do you have a bookkeeper who gives you monthly profit and loss? Does Jen track your work in progress? Like, how do you control the numbers side of the business?
Generally through Builder Trend, that gives us an option to go in. Obviously our budget's live. The boys use their app to put their hours in and everything at the end of every day, which automatically goes straight into the budget, so we can see where that's sitting. Perfect. As soon as a bill comes in, Jen puts that into there. So they've got reports and things like that. We can look into that. Same thing with MYOB as well. We use that. So that's just how we keep monitoring what's going on.
Yeah, it's so critical to be able to, one, back costs in real time, know exactly where you're at. Two, control your work in progress.
Yeah.
And then be able to say to the guys, hey, you know, cladding, we're allowed 85 hours. We're halfway through it.
Yep.
We should be at 40, but you guys are sitting at 65 hours. Like,
what's going on?
Yeah, what do we got to do to pull back that time?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, it's good. We've actually been using a new QS lately. We use an external QS to do most of our pricing. It's an Auckland-based company, but they've got an amazing breakdown of all your hours, all your materials, everything like that, which is fantastic. And they've just coming out with a new system where you can actually go online. It's a 3D model of it, so you can actually go up and click on different options and see the breakdown and exactly how they worked on it. So
tell me more. So the biggest challenge typically with a QS is how do you get in sync and they get in sync with you on labour recipes, hours, speed of your team, etc. So how long did it take? How many jobs have you done with them, and how long did it take to get
fresh with these guys? So we're just sort of working through that at the moment. Again, once I've sent me through something, I'll sit there and I'll run through everything for myself and just see if there's anything that's a red flag to me or anything that's different, you know, and then we just go back to them and just work through that. And as we go, we'll just work through it and learn, you know, just make sure that things are clear in our contracts, that things that aren't allowed for, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Like it's just as important to know the inclusions as well as the exclusions, like what actually constitutes a variation or a change order.
Makes it easier at the end of the day when you've got to explain something to someone. You can actually go back and go, well, it's actually in here, rather than having that argument because they don't understand that it's not there, you know. It gets quite hard to sort of explain that, right?
What's the name of the company and how?
I think it's Your QS.
My QS?
Your QS.
No, I'm just fucking with you.
Fair enough.
You like that?
Yep.
Did you see what I did there? Okay, Your QS. And what do they charge?
They're actually cheaper than the last one we used. The last one we used to use was probably about $3,500 for
for how big a job?
What do we? That was about a 350 square metre house.
Okay. New build.
Yep. And the new one, for the same sort of thing, you might be looking at about $2,000 at a guess.
Wow, that's very good.
Yeah, big difference. A lot clearer information as well that comes out of them as well.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
Nice. Okay, cool. So you've been in business for a while. What have been your biggest lessons, I guess, over the last, 7 or 8 years?
When I first started, I'd tried to do everything. Obviously the office side of things, pricing, talking to clients, working on the tools. Never had any time for myself, any of that sort of stuff. Even working on the tools from the last company I was with, you'd do a bit of tiling, you'd do a bit of painting, you'd do a bit of this, and just sort of learn that, there's so much things that give myself more time. I can pay people to do a better job, quicker job. Also puts a responsibility on them as well. When something goes wrong, I can go back and go, hey, look, you need to recover yourself there. There's just so many things that, you just try and do. Whereas it's actually easier and cheaper in the long run to get someone else to do it and sort of delegate those things.
Absolutely. Yep. Like 80% done by someone else, because not many people will be able to do it to your level of quality and standard. 80% done by someone else is 100% awesome.
Yep.
And the fastest way to get anything done is to delegate it.
Yep.
And inspect what you expect. And I think that's where a lot of people go wrong, is in delegating, they'll abdicate and they'll just go, well, you figure it out, you sort it, you're in charge of, all the variations. And what needs to happen is need to have the guardrails in terms of a system and a process that each role in the company follows. And then you have a way of inspecting what you expect. So trust, but verify. So labour hours, for example, put in every day, forecast versus forecast, and then we see in the toolbox meetings, hey, we're meant to be at 100 hours for the framing. We're sitting at 70 hours. We targeted 70. We're 70% of the way through. Cool, we're on track.
Yeah.
Or no, we're not. Hey, what are we going to do to
how we claw this
pull things back a bit?
Yeah, exactly. Or where's it gone wrong? What have we done that we haven't charged out for?
Exactly. So what about marketing? What have you been doing? What's working well for you? What are some strategies that are working well in your business?
So that's probably one thing that I've probably learned as well is we sort of put all our eggs in one basket at one point. One of the lessons we learned from you guys was to sort of get out there and get involved like an architect. And we've got a great architect who looks after us and pretty much pre-sells us before we even go on site.
Awesome.
But when things change around and workloads go down, you're really relying on one person, So
100%.
Yeah, we're definitely working on some other stuff at the moment. We've never really had a website like working for you guys. You just express the importance of your website, your sales process, all that stuff. Being a builder, you don't really understand half that stuff, and it's quite overwhelming unless you really understand it. Now I'm sort of understanding the importance of that, so we've got a new website we're working with at the moment.
Awesome.
Working for all our marketing, backlinks, Google, SEO, all that sort of stuff there, changing things around, doing blogs, just get information to people, so like you guys say, pre-sell yourself, so they've got information.
Yeah, because people want to know, before they'll buy from you, they want to know 4 key things. Who are you? Who's your company? Can I trust you? And how specifically can you help me?
Yeah.
So sales becomes easier when marketing does the heavy lifting. So your website is like your 24/7 sales reps. That's always your retail storefront. That's always there to answer questions for you. So there's some fundamental things that you need to have on there, like a how we work with you video, frequently asked questions, case studies, next steps in the sales process. So when they're going to a site visit, we're not just coming out for a chat.
Yeah.
We're going to have a look at your scope of works. We're going to see if your budget matches up to the scope of works.
That's what's important.
We're going to talk about who's going to be on site, project management, next steps. Are we going to go through the prelim budget process?
Yeah.
And so I think if you have your marketing, so your info pack that you send out before the site visit, and you have your killer website, that's helping to overcome a lot of people's concerns. And instead of having to take them from cold to sold, they're pre-sold by the marketing because they know a lot of those concerns that they have been answered already.
Yeah.
Are you a business owner running a residential construction company? If so, save the date. On Thursday and Friday, May the 22nd and the 23rd, we're running our Builders Summit at the Park Hyatt in Auckland. It's the biggest business summit for building company owners in the country. Across 11 expert sessions, we'll show you exactly how to either tweak or overhaul and transform your business into a profitable, streamlined building company. You'll get access to breakthrough strategies that have already helped over 3,000 of our residential members grow their businesses. Plus, just by being in the room, you get over $2,500 in extra bonus resources that you can implement into your business. We've got 100 seats. Many of those are reserved for our members, but you might be able to claim one of the few remaining. What you need to do is go to www.builderssummit.co.nz or click the links below and we'll take you directly there.
Yeah, it's definitely a few of those things we've still got to work on a little bit. But again, like I said, especially the stuff that comes from our architect, she's pretty much done a lot of that for us as well. She's done a lot of heavy lifting for us because she recommends us to most people because we do her work as well, so that sort of helps.
How'd you get in with her?
The last company that I was with, I mentioned before, when I first started with that company, we used to do some work for her because she specialises in heritage houses and villas and things like that. And when I sort of went out on my own and was just trying to look at different ways of getting work in rather than relying on my friends that had building business and things like that. Again, from you guys, that conversation about looking and aligning with an architect, and I was just like, who do I know? I was like, oh, yeah. So I gave her a call and just cold called her and had a conversation with her. But obviously at that point there, I was still learning a lot as well. So the first job she gave me, I looked at, it was quite overwhelming as well. I'm like, oh, geez, different stages, and I didn't really know how to deal with that. So I sort of left that to the side a little bit and didn't really do much with it. I'm quite cautious. Probably not the right time. Sometimes, you just got to jump into things. And then she sort of contacted me back and gave me a different job a couple of months later, and I was like, I'm just going to do this. And I just jumped on it and just started from there, and it just escalated with her.
Nice.
Yeah.
So tell us what is unique or different about the heritage villa renovations that you're typically doing? Like, what sort of skill set do you need from you guys on site, and what are you mainly doing with those projects?
We've done a few. We've done one on High Taito, about a year or so ago, which is a 1910 villa, beautiful house. Doing an extension to that, trying to make sure that the extension matches with the rest of the house. You literally walk into this house, it looks like a beautiful old house. The back end of it still looks old, but you can't tell there's a renovation that's been done on this place, and that's what we like doing. You get a lot of guys that will do weatherboard joins, and you'll see battens over the weatherboard joins. You're like, there's an extension, whereas we like to do things properly, and we'll stagger the joins and make sure everything's done properly, so when you walk in, you really can't tell.
So I would imagine that being in Wellington, and there's two things that Wellington's well known for. One is wind, and the other one's hills.
Yep.
And 3, Parliament. Are you dealing with structural engineers much?
Yep.
Okay, so and I presume you're working with architects a lot as well.
Yeah, that sort of stuff there, definitely with an architect. There's just so much involved. You need someone who really knows what they're talking about and how they deal with councils and all that sort of stuff, Again, it's just another hat that there's no way I could do. They know all that information, so just dealing with them, we usually have fortnightly site visits and conversations with the clients and things like that as well to make sure things are staying on track, dealing with the engineers and everything as well.
Nice.
Yep.
So you're involved with the master builders. Tell me a little bit about that. How long have you been with the master builders for? What's your role?
Yep.
And how do they help and support you?
So been master builders about 6 years now. And in the last 2 years, I've actually just joined onto the executive team for Wellington.
Awesome.
Which is good. So I like to learn a lot. Like to help other people learn and grow as well, So it's an opportunity to help other people out and just put money, give back into that community and help each other out, And they're a good bunch of people, It's probably one of the good things we've done is jumping with them because there's so many like-minded people and you can ring them up and you can talk to them, and that I'm the same. People can ring me and talk to me about things. We've all got our different skill sets, So it's good to have people that bring very different experiences than you have. They might have dealt with something that you're having a problem with, and you can figure out how they've done it and how you can, make that work for yourself. So, just like-minded people. And
I think that's one of the biggest things is finding your tribe or your vibe. Like who else is on a similar journey to me that's solving problems or solve the challenges that I've got and who can shine a light on the potholes ahead.
Yeah.
And so from the business perspective, what were you looking for, or why did you decide to reach out for some help with your business and join TPB?
As I said, I like to learn and understand things. Being a builder, you're never really taught how to do anything, especially business-wise. You're taught how to build. That's it,
Exactly.
That's it. So you sort of feel like you're stuck in the deep end. Saw you guys' ads, started looking into it more, reached out, had a conversation. I think it was Owen at the time. Gave me a call and we spoke about things and just thought I'd jump in and just learn and grow from you guys, learning mindset, all that sort of stuff has been a huge difference. Just how to think outside the box as well, and things that I would never even thought about doing,
So what's changed mindset shift-wise from where you were 6 years ago till now? What are some of your key leadership shifts or mindset changes?
I don't stress as much anymore about simple things. You just sort of learn to let things go over time. I'm open to more opportunities now, where I'm quite a quiet person generally, quite reserved like this. I wouldn't usually do this.
Yep.
So just it's given me a bit of confidence in myself that when I'm talking about work, I know what I'm talking about, so I'm confident to do that. It's just confidence is huge from...
Yeah, absolutely. And how did working with a coach help from a accountability or a mentorship perspective?
Just setting plans up of what you need to do, figuring out those holes that you start with, and then, just starting from the bottom and working your way through it and closing those as you go, setting little systems as you go. Every time something goes wrong, why did that go wrong? How do we fix that so it doesn't happen again? And having someone just chasing you and just going, have you sorted that out, rather than just what's in the too hard basket, you sort of just let it go to the side, because that can happen so easily.
Yeah, I think a good analogy is you can go to the gym and you can just go on your own and figure out your own diet, or you can go to the gym, you can get a personal trainer that you see once a week. You can get a nutrition plan at the beginning, and someone is actually going to hold you accountable and hold your feet to the fire to make sure that you're actually implementing
100%.
the changes and the right things in your business. Because quite often, they asked Tiger Woods, like, why have you got a coach? You're the best golfer in the world. And he's like, well, I can't see my own swing.
Yeah.
So quite often we've got these blind spots and we're so head down, bum up in business that you're not aware of what are the opportunities, what are the biggest holes, which one should I plug first and in what order.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good to have that outside view, 100%.
Why do you think a lot of builders don't reach out for help, or they just keep on, doing the same thing but hoping for a better result and working harder?
So often, right?
Yeah,
exactly. I think we're quite stubborn, to be fair. We think we can do everything ourselves. It's kind of like that DIY thing in New Zealand as well. Maybe that's part of it as well. We all think we can do everything for ourselves. We don't need help, and I still do it now. I don't ask for help in certain things like lifting and things like that unless I really need it. I'm just quite stubborn that way there. But you sort of learn to let those things go. And when you need help, you need help. You can sit there and struggle and keep doing the same thing, and like you said, get the same result, and we're going to grow from it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. What would your advice be to someone who is struggling in their building business? Like, they're either stuck, they're not progressing, or they're going fine, but they feel that they're capable of so much more.
Reaching out to someone like you guys, having a business coach, there's plenty of opportunity out there to do that. Joining with someone like Master Builders or Certified Builders as well, and just getting into those groups where you got the same sort of people that are dealing with situations or have been through things that you have, or that you're dealing with at the moment. Someone that can actually just help out, and it just actually asking for help, just get in there and do it. It doesn't make you any less of a person to do it.
Exactly.
It's the only way to grow. At the end of the day, you can keep doing mistakes, but unless someone points them out, like you said, you're not going to grow and you're not going to get any better for it. So
yeah, 100%. How's your lifestyle changed now, your work-life balance? How's that different from 6 years ago?
Back then, as I was saying, doing everything, had no time. I'd come home, I'd be on the emails, I'd be doing pricing, I'd be doing everything. Weekends, I'd be just sitting there thinking about it. We had our office in our lounge and just having it sit there, I just couldn't help myself. You'd go up and you'd check emails or you'd do this, and it just sort of took away time from family and things like that, Putting the wife in charge of most of that stuff now has helped me just sort of let go of all of that stuff. But we've also got an office now and a workshop, so that's separate to our house, which means sort of when we're at home, we can actually concentrate on being at home. We're not actually thinking, oh shit, I'll just go and check the emails, Just completely segregating that point there. So I've got more time for myself now. I don't generally work after hours. After 5 o'clock, I'm just like, that's it, I'm done. Weekends, I don't work weekends, and I don't want to work weekends. If I have to for a job and it's important, I'll do it. But it's definitely not something we don't even expect our guys to work weekends.
Awesome. Yeah. Awesome.
We want them to have their time for themselves as well,
Exactly. And I think a big thing is reverse engineering, designing. What do you want your company to look like, your business maturity date, 2-3 years from now, and then build a business by design that you grow to love, that gives you more money and more time, rather than one that you hate or keeps you stuck on the hamster wheel.
Yeah. It's nice to actually go to work and enjoy it rather than sit there and stress about everything because you've got so much on your head, There's only so much your brain can hold, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And what's been the biggest game changer, or what, I guess, systems or strategies from TPB have helped the most? What's moved the needle the most for you?
Just putting systems in place so that things don't happen again, When we come up with a problem, we just figure out why it happened, make sure it doesn't happen again, come up with systems to make sure that doesn't happen. The mindset has helped hugely. There's a lot of things, to be honest. It's really hard to sort of nail down to a few things.
See what you did. Nail down. Nice.
Yeah, nice.
Good.
But also, like, even your guys' community, the Facebook page as well. You go on a lot of those Facebook pages, the builders ones, and they're just so negative, and all they do is rip each other off, and they just attack each other, and it's not a nice way to be, No. Whereas you go on your guys' community, or with Master Builders, thing like that, everyone's just positive and trying to be helpful, and like no one's just giving people crap. There's no need for that sort of stuff. People are struggling as it is, and they're reaching out and asking for help. And then just getting shut down by people, you can sort of see that, what we spoke about before,
100%.
Yeah, it's horrible.
So if you were to go back in time, what advice would you give yourself when you were starting out?
Probably get in contact with someone like yourself and Master Builders quicker, get involved with them and actually just get stuck in and do the hard yards early, Actually, even though you don't understand things like the marketing and things like that you guys talk about, just get stuck in, just do it, It's not until when workload slows down, you're like, crap, I need that, but it's too bloody late at that point, you need that done early so that, you've got that opportunity to choose.
Dig the well before you thirst.
Yeah, mate. That's the one.
Exactly. So where do you want to take Kiwi Built? What are your plans for the future? What does success look like for you 5 years from now?
We just want to specialise in doing more villas and things like that. We don't mind doing new homes and things like that. They're all right. Prefer old style villas, so if we can get some more of that sort of work coming through, grow the team, take on some more apprentices and things like that to try and teach them what we do, because we've actually had a lot of struggles just trying to find builders who can do what we do.
Yeah, sure.
A lot of them are just sort of kit set home guys, and when it comes to this tricky stuff, you end up with a lot of problems, and when you're dealing with like old remo and old matai and things like that, you only get one chance of doing it right. So just trying to grow our team and actually teach people what we do so that they can continue on,
Love it.
And grow. So, yeah.
Awesome, bro. I think you'd be an awesome mentor, coaching and training younger builders and bringing them up, and everyone else on your team as well. Yep. So if people want to connect or follow your journey, how can they get in touch? Where can they reach out to Corey if they're wanting to have a yarn?
We've got our website, www.kiwi-built.nz. We're on Instagram and Facebook as well.
On the gram and on the FB.
Yeah, the two of them. Nothing much else. Just jump on there, get in contact, see what we're up to, see what we've been doing, see the sort of work that we do as well. Yep.
You're a champion, bro. Appreciate you. Awesome, my man. Wish you all the success going forward.
Thanks. Appreciate it, buddy. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. All right, so if you'd like to get the show notes from today's episode with Corey Brown from Kiwi Built in Wellington, or you're doing villa restorations or heritage listings, then check out the notes, get in touch with Corey, and look forward to seeing you smash it.